Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in part 2 of this video, where we are looking at the various zodiacs in the sign of the seventh house of marriage, relationships, and partnerships. In the previous video, we covered the signs from Aries to Virgo, and today we'll be looking at the other signs from the sign of Libra onwards. But then before we go into the details of this video, kindly subscribe to the channel if you have not done that already. And please share this video with your friends and family if you think that they will benefit from this information that I'm sharing. So if the seventh house is in the sign of Libra, then, Venus and Saturn would co-rule this sign, okay? Because Saturn exalts in the sign of Libra, and Venus, of course, is the owner of Libra. So Libra is co-ruled by Venus and Saturn. And, this shows that in marriage, the native will need support in all decisions, intelligence, and spending time together, okay? And in case of the seventh house being the sign of Libra, the patronage of Venus will manifest itself in a constant craving for entertainment and romantic adventures. Simply put, if you're a female with this placement, then your husband or then your man will have to constantly surprise you with something and without repetition. Okay, so, a person having this placement would pretty much wish to feel like the hero or the heroine of the film of their lives, in the marriage, who is taken for a ride on a private jet, invited to the opera, and without hesitation, you are given an unlimited credit card for free use by your spouse. Okay, so not everyone can sustain a person who has Libra in the seventh house. So, the person having this combination will either sort out partners for a long time, or will end up torturing one person who will fall for your charm. Okay, so Libra is a difficult sign to have. Okay, it's never easy because Libra is all about the balance. And if your spouse manages to keep the balance in your life, or rather, if your spouse manages to keep your life in balance, you could be in for a lot of fun. Okay. Now, if your seventh house is ruled by the zodiac of Scorpio, then it means Mars becomes the ruler of the marriage. And for these people who have the seventh house in Scorpio in their natal chart, their relationships and marriages are all about drama and passion fused together. Okay, these people will not care about romance, but regular sexual practices, interspersed with crazy deeds in the name of love, and they will be fine with all of that. And in the youth, these people will be very windy and capricious, breaking other people's hearts one after the other. But then there will be the fatal person who will break your heart silently and with conviction. Okay, so these people can endure toxic relationships for a long time and painfully, and only then they will finally learn how to respect the feelings of other people. Okay, so this is a difficult placement to have, and a placement that indicates one fatal love in your life for sure. If you have the seventh house in the sign of Sagittarius, then of course the ruler is Jupiter, and Jupiter as a ruler will give you the need to grow with a partner and set goals, not for an individual, but for a couple. You'd want to grow in this marriage. So if you have this position of planets in the natal chart, I've seen people marrying usually very early and, trying their best to maintain the marriage until the end of their lives. Okay, so these people, they are not very fond of divorce. It'll be like a death sentence for them. And they usually do not like to break the marriage even after facing obstacles including fights, betrayals, and mutual treacheries. Okay, and such couples are destroyed only by death. And even then, not always. Many women having this placement, they continue to be widowed, mourning the untimely death of their spouse for years and giving unrealized love to children. Okay, so again, this is a difficult placement to have because it gives you a lot of capacity to endure pain and still not break away from the relationship. Okay, it is different from Scorpio. Scorpio can break away from a relationship, but Sagittarius, if you are in a bad relationship, you'll find it very difficult to break away from it. If your seventh house is in the sign, is ruled by the zodiac of Capricorn, then it means it is co-ruled by Mars and Saturn, because Mars also rules the, Mars exalts in the sign of Capricorn. And for these people, having the seventh house in Capricorn, the main thing for them in a relationship is the decency, responsibility and professionalism of their partners. Okay, these people cannot live with someone who is poor, who has nothing of themselves, just because they dedicate poems to you. Okay, they are not like the emotional sign of Cancer. Remember, Capricorn is always opposite to Cancer. Okay, these people would prefer a partner with a rather bright personality, and that partner will be simply obliged to live up to the expectations that the native sets for him or her. Okay, and these people, they are characterized by rare fatal loves in their youth, where they are ignored and not noticed. Okay, because usually these people, they prefer not to open their feelings to the object of their passion. And when they enter into a marriage, such a marriage is usually a strong marriage in adulthood, which is based more on practicality and less on love. Okay, so Capricorn is all about decency, it's all about responsibility, and it's all about professionalism. If your seventh house is in the sign of Aquarius, then Saturn rules the marriage. And this indicates that, in your marriage, you would always crave for freedom, equality, and friendship. Okay, these people will marry only them whom they can fully trust, having previously marinated a successful candidate for a husband or wife with a couple of years of friendship. So, these people are the kings and the queens of the friend zone, often inaccessible and playful at the same time. Okay, and they can easily find a common language with their partner and often understand them. So most likely, your chosen spouse will be found either amongst your colleagues or amongst your friends and comrades, and this is good. Okay, marital relationships that grow out of friendship are much likely to last and much less likely to end in divorce due to various factors. Okay, then if the seventh house is in the sign of Pisces, the ruler, of course, is Jupiter and Venus, because Venus exalts in Pisces. So Venus becomes the co-ruler of Pisces. And, these people, people having the seventh house in the sign of Pisces, they fully understand the meaning of the word married, and they always enjoy the protection and patronage of their spouse. Okay. In such marriages, their nirvana or their happiness or their heaven or their bliss comes from the spiritual and emotional connection with your spouse. Okay, and for these people, when they find their spouse, everything else fades into the background. Boyfriends, girlfriends, vacations, fun, and even children become secondary, because they can completely dissolve in their union. Okay, so it has two sides of this. Okay, there's the good side, where most likely you will meet a partner who is just waiting for this, just like you. But on the other hand, if your partner is bored by these tendencies, by your spiritual tendencies, then you'll lose more than love. Okay, there is a risk of losing yourself and not being able to get out of the relationship. Okay, so if you have this placement, then understand that marriage is not your life. Marriage does not define your life, it's just a part of your life. Okay, and as I said, Pisces is all about dedication, it's all about letting go. So these people will often let go in favor of their partner. All right, so before we end, we have covered all the signs. By the way, before we end, just a few pointers for marriage, for determining marriage. So if your seventh house is in the sign of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, then early marriage and relationships are more likely. Okay, if your seventh house is in the sign of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, and the ruler of the seventh house is retrograde, or if Saturn is in the seventh house, then you will likely marry later than usual. That means after your 30s or 32s. Okay, so keep this thing in mind before predicting marriage, because as I said, the zodiac of the seventh house plays a very important role in determining your quality of marriage. So that's it from me. I hope I've covered much needed information that all of you wanted to hear regarding the seventh house in the last few videos that I've shared. Please let me know if you want something more regarding the seventh house or any other house for that matter. And I'll surely try to fulfill your request in the upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you want a consultation regarding your chart, you're most welcome to reach out at the number provided in the description box. Namaste. Om Gurave Namaha.